He cheated on his wife with a pillow. Ooh, let's get into it. Hi, I'm Kate. Let's talk theater. Today we are going to be reviewing the last 5 years. Today I'm wearing my Saw the Musical shirt because this is the only musical that would be appropriately using the tagline, "Nothing hurts as good as love." Before we jump in, I want to say that I'm easy to please. I swear. I can nitpick like the rest of them, but I am easy to please. Okay? Show me a good time. Show me good vocals. Show me good dancing. Show me a decent plot. We don't even need to get that serious about plot. I can have fun. I swear. I know that sometimes there are those people online talking about theater where it just feels like they hate everything and they hate everything for the sake of it. You wonder if they even like theater. That is not me. You can go watch a very positive review of Redwood the Musical on my channel right now. A musical that no one seemed to care about. That no one really seems that into, but I'm like, hey, I was vibing. There were trees. Idina Menzel was in it. I'm good. Like, I can have fun. I can have fun. I swear. I loved Harmony, which people did not seem to take to. I had a great time at Boop. Some people seem to be complaining about that. I'll make the Boop video eventually, but this was weighing on my conscience. I just saw the last 5 years. Hello, I forgot to mention, this review is going to have a ton of spoilers. We are going to talk about the whole shebang, so if you do not want to see that, skedaddle. Literally, last night, it opened on Sunday, so I saw it on the 9th, just a couple days later. I think the best way for me to get into this is to, ironically, just go chronologically through my experience and hopefully make a little bit of sense of this. Today, we've got a really, traditional smoky eye because my 12-year-old self is in mourning at the fact that I saw Nick Jonas live on Broadway in the same room as that man, and I had a very okay time. I'm upset. And I want to say that too. I recently watched the first few episodes of the show Jonas on Disney+. Okay? I wanted to have a good time. I like this musical. I paid money to be there. I want to have a good time. I'm not going to be a hater. But I have a lot of thoughts, and a lot of them are not pretty. We're just going to go, again, right in it, right off the bat. You walk in, and you go on their website, but you also walk in, and on TVs in the sort of pre-entry, it's the lobby sort of area, "Nothing hurts as good as love" is their tagline. What do you think they're talking about? What do you think they're talking about when they use this tagline for the last 5 years? Because I still don't know what they think they're talking about. This isn't an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This isn't a Heathers revival, even though that wouldn't even work. This isn't Charmed. What is this about? This is not like an insane... It's giving President Grant and Olivia Pope. Like, what are they talking about? This is not like an insane, toxic, masochistic relationship. This is a pretty normal mess of a relationship. Nothing hurts as good as love. Doesn't feel like it applies. And to me, it also just kind of borders on offensive. Like, this to me is reminiscent of like normalizing unhealthy relationship behaviors. And I know that that's probably partially me and my lens. I worked in the field of like teaching K-12 about social, emotional, healthy relationship stuff. Okay, so I'm particularly sensitive to language around relationships. It's giving, oh, he's just jealous because he loves you. It's giving, they text you every 10 minutes and get upset if you don't respond because they just care about you so much. Because they just miss you. They want to know where you are and they're so loving. Like, that's what it's giving to use language like this. I don't like that. I don't like it. And to me, I'm already walking in feeling as though whoever is behind this show has a fundamental misunderstanding of what this musical seems to be about. Like, unless Jason Robert Brown recently went to therapy and discovered that he has some sort of masochistic love obsession thing going on. Like, I don't know what they mean. Like, if y'all want to explain to me, if you're picking up something that I'm not picking up, I don't know, but immediately, bad taste in my mouth. Right off the bat, I am concerned that I am not going to like what they are giving me. So that is that. You walk in, says the last 5 years on a screen. Oh, let me get my book. You do receive this bad boy, a slip, with the song list, where the songs are in order this way of how they appear in the show, but then this way they are chronologically, so they're existing on a timeline. I know I'm not good at, like, visualization and, like, spatial what have yous. This made no sense to me. I would love to hear from someone who doesn't understand how this musical works and if they got it, because I don't think they did a stellar job. Basically, on the screen, it says her, him, ending, beginning, and then the screen comes up and we start the opening number. I'm going to leave this in front of me to reference as we go. I don't know if you can hear my cat. I don't know what she's doing. Still hurting. Everybody's saying Adrienne Warren was not for this role. Leave. Just leave. Just go. We don't need you here. You were incorrect. Do I admit that she sounds very different from what we've become accustomed to in the 3 cast recordings that we have? Of course. But she's amazing. Anytime I was ever a little bit iffy about her Kathy, it felt like more of a directorial choice that we'll get into. But Adrienne Warren is incredible in this. She just shines. She is absolutely a star power that can carry half of a show. And let's face it, the whole show. Moving on, Shiksa. This is obviously where we finally get to see Nick Jonas sing. Finally, it's been like 4 minutes. We get to see Nick Jonas sing. This is a pattern. This began the pattern for me of, there's 2 things. There's 2 patterns. No one said this was going to be an organized review. 1, is there 3 patterns? All right. Oh my God. Okay. 1. It felt like he was so focused on singing the score that he wasn't acting through the singing. And we'll compare it to A Summer in Ohio later. But it just felt like he was singing the notes. It didn't really feel like he gave a really solid comedic effort until A Miracle would happen. And I realized that song is very talked through, whereas Shiksa is not. And Shmuel, which we'll get to Shmuel. It just felt like he was not really shining in that way. Felt like he was either acting or singing. It also felt like, elephant in the room, Nick Jonas isn't Jewish. People have had a lot of complaints about that. I myself am not a part of the Jewish community, but I see it, I get it, I support it. I think it's the year 2025 and we need somebody who's Jewish to play a Jewish role in which being Jewish is not only an integral part of Jamie. There are 2 songs that are very much about that, but those songs also carry a lot of stereotypes and things that are funny when they're written by a Jewish man who's like making fun of his own culture. And if they're then being performed by somebody who's respectful of that and is part of that culture, that's great. If it's not, does it come off a little bit funky? I can only speak to what I'm seeing other people say because that's not my personal experience, but I can see, of course, why that would be inappropriate. It does bother me a lot of people bring up that Norbert Leo Butz was not Jewish. I've seen a lot of Jewish, just like TikTok people talk about how it just felt like he put in a lot of effort to be authentic. Also, that was 20 years ago. Like, let's do better. Especially coming off of the Funny Girl discussion with the tour casting. I just don't see why. But all of that to say is that it felt like in Shiksa and in the Shmuel song, it felt like he was kind of holding back. And this is just my speculation. 100% my speculation. My speculation is that for him to really give into the character the way you can hear on the cast albums, and you can see Jeremy Jordan do in the movie, for him to do that, would that have made people mad? Would that be giving caricature? Would that get judged heavily? Maybe. And so it almost felt like they didn't want him to give too much, but then in him not really giving too much, they fell flat. Because they're supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be funny. And it just felt like he was a little bit stiff, a little bit just like not giving a lot. He had like in every Shapiro in Washington Heights. It's like, okay, all right, my guy. The issue that I have and will have for the rest of these songs, so we will just get it out of the way now, is the vocal range. Shiksa Goddess, I mean, every single one of these songs, maybe not Shmuel, but every single one of these songs, and it came up a lot in Moving Too Fast, because I will say that like 75% of Moving Too Fast, I was having a great time. I know I said I was going to go chronologically and I'm ruining it. But I'm having a good time. I'm like, he's doing well. He sounds good. What I noticed they started to do, again, my speculation, he can't sing the range that the prior Jamies that we know, because there are many recordings, he cannot or was not singing that. I'm not Nick Jonas's vocal cords, but I'm gonna assume if he could sing that, he would have, because Adrienne Warren sings it and more. Sings the existing range and goes above and beyond. So I'm gonna assume that this isn't some sort of weird choice. I'm gonna assume he can't. Two things. One, it felt like they would just add little random vocal runs and hms and oohs and things at random pauses. It almost felt like it was to add a little bit of spice, because we weren't otherwise getting that. We weren't going to be getting more. So that was their way of like adding something, maybe in an attempt to compare to the beauty and wonder that is Adrienne Warren. It didn't compare. Move this on, spill on it. I'm gesticulating too much. On the flip side, Jason Robert Brown, like many composers, you can find countless interviews probably with Jason Robert Brown, Stephen Sondheim, Stephen Schwartz, Alan Menken, all those people that we love. You write with intention, and the notes are intentional as well. And the way that the notes flow and move and grow, and you get higher and louder, and you belt here and you don't there, that is meaningful. And he, I'm assuming couldn't do that. The range was so shrunk that none of his songs had a build, had a big finish. They all kind of just felt like they were here. So the emotional resonance of a lot of his songs wasn't there. As problematic to me, because we're supposed to be on a musical journey. These songs are so important. Songs are always important. But for a musical where that's all you have to follow this character, to get to know this character, it is so incredibly important. And he's not taking us on the same journey, again, that Kathy is. Where she's big and all over the place and can grow and choose a belt here and a soprano here and feel like you're getting more than just the lyrics. Nick Jonas wasn't delivering that. Again, maybe if it was a different musical, you'd be like, whatever. This musical does not have really much dialogue at all to give you anything more than what the song is giving you. So we need all of that. We need all the fluff and all of the things intentionally. And that compares to, right, people were mad that Aaron Tveit was cast as Sweeney. People were mad that Audra McDonald was cast as Gypsy. Cast as Mama Rose. Those are two recent ones. I know people were mad at like Sutton Fox. I didn't see that. Aaron Tveit, Audra were both vocals that are not traditional to the sounds in which we know those characters of Sweeney and Rose. The difference for me, I loved, first of all, both of them. The difference for me was that they were so different that they brought different meaning to the role with those choices. They felt like their choices and their vocals were meaningful for the character. To me, it really leaned into Aaron Sweeney really leaned into the fact that he was once just like Antony. Forgot his name for a second. I would see people being like, oh, the Joanna reprise just sounds like two Antonys. And I'm like, no, that's actually brilliant. Like, he's singing a song about his daughter, and before he was taken away, when he was a father to his daughter, he was just like Antony. He was just a young boy who was innocent and in love with a woman with yellow hair. Like, the fact that he sounds like that, I think you can pull meaning from that. It feels like there's a point to it. Same thing with Audra and the way that she sings Mama Rose. And to me, feeling like she is this kind of voice in the year 2025 that we don't have appreciation for, the way in which she was like exasperatingly sopranoing at us, and it was like these breathy notes that she would let out rather than a screaming belt. There was more of a brokenness to her Mama Rose. It really felt like she really did care and really did, like when she sang, I did it for you, June, I believed her in a way that I hadn't in other roles, in other versions of Mama Rose. Like, it felt like, okay, these are different, but there's a point. They're different enough. They're so different that we can change how we look at this character. They're still grasping the range of the work, therefore the emotional resonance. Different, just differently. Nick Jonas didn't feel like he had that. Everything is so shrunk, just felt like he is smaller for it. And I just felt like I couldn't get as excited with him. I couldn't get as much from him because of that. And again, it just didn't feel intentional. It just felt like we wanted to hire Nick Jonas. It didn't feel like... I don't know. It just, again, he sounded good until you realized you needed a little more. And yes, I have all of these other versions in my head, again, specifically Jeremy Jordan's. But I don't think you need to have those expectations to still experience the stark difference from then Adrienne Warren's incredible, broad, strong performance. One thing that did bother me about Shik's a Goddess was the continued inclusion of the line, if you had a powerful connection to your collection, I'm not going to say, I'm scared of YouTube, so I'm not going to say the rest, but you know what I'm talking about. There were a lot of updates to the show that made it more relevant to today. It takes place now. So they updated things. It bothered me that they left that line in, because the old pew-pew culture is very much at the forefront of cultural conversation in a way that it wasn't when the musical came out over 20 years ago, right? And I just think they could have made a very mild statement, a powerful statement, but a very simple way to make a statement by taking that out. Like, that culture is not good. Having a powerful connection to that can sometimes make people maybe not make the best choices when it comes to everybody's overall safety, okay? And, like, theater is political, and there's no way around that, and this was such a simple way for them to just do something a little bit different and not make a joke out of something like that, where maybe 20-some years ago, the school concerns, again, trying to YouTube talk here, so I do apologize. The school concerns were not what they were, and so I understand how that existed, but it has only gotten worse. And as a kid who, was of the generation of those drills and things, knowing that kids even younger than I was when I had to start doing those have to do them basically from kindergarten, basically from preschool. I would have liked to see that gone. They don't have to make a statement, right? They don't have to change it in a way that says something. This isn't that. But they could have just said something else. Because there were other times where they said something else. So why not change that? What is the thought process there? That gave me a little bit of the ick. I was really hoping to see that changed. That was something that I was thinking about, especially because Casey Levy, in a miscast performance, actually said that, and then instead of saying, draw a bead, she said,
actually, that's a deal breaker.
And you can do that in miscast. Can't do that here, which again is why I would have just liked to see that gone. Again, theater is political. Sorry. It is. Moving on. Ohio is just clouds. Let's talk about the set for a minute. That's what I want to talk about in See I'm Smiling. Because she was amazing. Her belting, the strength in her voice. People said she didn't sound right. She absolutely was incredible in all of these songs. Still Hurting is a tough song to start on, I think, for anybody. But See I'm Smiling, I was bought in. I want to hear everything from this woman. I want this to be a one-woman show. Give this to me. Ohio is just clouds, though. It's clouds in a trunk, in case you were wondering. Literally a backdrop falls, and it's just a blue background with clouds. I don't know why. The New York background is a skyline, these tiny little skyline piece in the back. Not a grand thing. Just a little, I don't get it. I don't get any of that. I feel like that's a different conversation. But yeah, Ohio is just clouds, which cracked me up as somebody from the East Coast, because I too would just think Ohio is clouds. Like, I get it. East Coast elitism, screw it. What's out there? Probably just clouds. At one point I want to be like, don't give it an elaborate set. That's ridiculous. And I don't think they needed to give it an elaborate set, but I think they needed to give it a more meaningful set. And I think they really could have played with a set that was grand, yet there was a regional production. I couldn't tell you where it was, what it was. It might have been Community. I don't even know. But I did see The Last 5 Years like a decade ago. And their set was just, it was very, I think it was just like a desk and a chair and like a box that they were in. And super simple. But everything was covered in sheet music and pages, and there were way more pages, and the pages were like all covering the sheet music. There wasn't like a single piece of like straight sheet music. Brilliant, effective, emotive, but also vague. Nothing is too specific, because a big issue that this musical has, this production has, is that it's too specific. It's too objective. We'll get to that. I am all over the place. Stick with me. I have been talking already for so long. The Shmuel song, another song that just felt like he was holding back. It also felt like he couldn't decide when to do the accent and what accent he was doing, but that is on someone for not calling him out on that. Like, stick to an old Jewish man, or an old man, or a man. Like, he couldn't decide. My biggest complaint about this was, other than the fact that it felt like Nick Jonas was kind of holding back, I don't know. I just feel like they don't have great chemistry. Like, there was never a point where I was like, wow, they love each other. Like, I'm questioning if they ever loved each other. Nick Jonas felt very stiff to me a lot of the time. And Adrienne Warren Kathy in the Shmuel song. So here's the issue with this production. That a lot of people complained about the movie. The movie had an objective reality, right? We were seeing it play out. It kind of goes against the point of The Last 5 Years. This show then did that. They were often in each other's stories. Oh, they also used lighting. Again, all over the place. So the way you knew whose timeline it was, other than the fact that they're singing, so you should know, whatever. I guess there are those slight interjections that are already there. There was blue and yellow light. Kathy was in yellow light. and Jamie was in blue light. I swear it wasn't always adding up for me, but maybe that was just me not picking up on things properly. I swear it didn't always add up, though. But the Shmuel song exists with Kathy in it. Kathy is there. We are seeing an objective Kathy, and she looked absolutely over it. And it's kind of reminiscent of how Anna Kendrick's portrayal is in the movie, where she just had like a crummy audition, I think, and so she's kind of miserable, and he's cheering her up, which is the point of Shmuel's song, is he's cheering her up. He's kind of trying to lift her up. Her self-esteem is in the toilet, and he's trying to make her feel better. And she's kind of over it, but he hypes her up, and they're happy in the end. And you're like, wow, they love each other. That's cool. That's great. In this, we don't have any of that beginning. So to just see these, there's not a lot of dialogue. These are just random snapshots in time. To see her just kind of like, oh, this guy is dancing around with ribbon, like, stop. Like, she seemed like annoyed by him. We didn't have any context as to why she would be acting like that. So she just seemed like she didn't want to be there. Which, like, I guess we've all had moments where we're like, oh my god, like, calm down, leave me alone, stop throwing ribbon at me. I get it, but, like, this is supposed to be a snapshot, and to me it's supposed to be a snapshot of them happy. And, like, I get that there's a reason he needs to be cheering her up, but, like, I shouldn't be having to work that hard. So all I'm seeing is that she looks kind of bored by him, and then again, he's kind of stiff and not that fun, so it just never really felt like we had a resolution of them, like, really seeming joyful and happy together, because he just felt stiff. I just wanted to share that his delivery of Limovich in the song is a great example of him just not really giving into the full comedic effect. He just barreled through that line. Like, he said, go out onto a Limovich, like, that's a thing. Like, that's just a word. Like, that's not supposed to be cheeky. Like, that could have been such a moment where he delivers comedy, but he also is sort of delivering that to her, and it's just, like, charming her and trying to be cute, and she could have laughed, and it could have been fun, and it was just completely ran over, and that bugged me. And I think that's a good example of how I felt throughout this number. There were moments like that all throughout the show where seeing the other one in the other story took away from the point of the last 5 years, and that it is subjective. We're only hearing their side. We're only hearing their experience. Should we really be privy to some of this? No, right? Like, no. It takes away from the point, and if anything, it at times, like, impacted it negatively, like that. A Summer in Ohio, she was so good. This was, every song was her moment, but this was her moment. And to me, again, it really juxtaposed, like, she got to be all over the place. She's dancing around, she's jumping around, she's acting very silly, but still pulling off the notes. And that was really the moment, upon reflection, where I'm like, that's what we didn't get from Shiksa Goddess, from Nick Jonas. The next 10 minutes, I don't even know if I have anything constructive to say. I just don't understand why on earth that takes place during their wedding night. Like, I'm talking their wedding night. Okay, I'm talking in the hotel. I'm talking aggressively rip the bow tie, rip the shirt off. Not the shirt. We didn't see any of that. It wasn't that kind of show. The jacket. Why? That is not a song that you're ripping clothes. It's not. It is not. It also felt weird that you would say the stuff that he's saying, like, on one's wedding night. Right? I don't want to think about the wedding night activities when we're supposed to be having a beautiful moment. It just, like, this is the moment. This is the moment where we are like, they loved each other. They meet in the middle. We're supposed to believe they have something, and they're going to try, and they're going to commit to each other, and yada, yada, yada. Not that they're foreplaying. It also ends with this very strange, satisfied rewind kind of moment, where it goes like, shoo, like, it goes black, and the lighting turns a little bit different, because obviously they meet in the middle, but then, so it starts with his point of view into the wedding night, because he's obviously going beginning to end. And then it ends with her point of view because she's obviously going end to beginning. So it ends with her point of view because we're following her backwards. Why is it like and they're like redoing some of the choreography a la Rewind, Wind, and Satisfied? It was so odd. It just felt out of place. They aren't otherwise making us feel like we're going in and out of time or anything. Like, the whole musical is doing that. Why that? To, like, harp on and make a thing of. It was very strange. It was very strange. So strange. That whole number. Strange. That's all I have to say. A Miracle Would Happen is absolutely, to me, Nick Jonas's finest moment. He was so funny in this. I was cracking up. He was so funny. It just really felt like finally he's actually like owning this moment. Like he has arrived. He's doing it. He sounded great. I mean, it's not asking a lot, but like he just felt like on in a way that he just didn't really feel like he was before. So I really enjoyed this. I just want to say, Kathy's audition song is so bad. Like, that's why Girly Pop's not booking work. That song is horrible. Not even Adrienne Warren can make it sound good. I mean, she sounds good, but like, not even Adrienne Warren can make me want to hear it. That's all I have to say about that part. Climbing Uphill. Adrienne Warren's amazing. Very funny. Nene Leakes. Cast Nene Leakes in a musical. Shout out to Lyric Change. They actually brought the pianist on, which is interesting that they brought a person on because we're going to talk about that later. But they bring a pianist on, probably from the orchestra, to play for her. She's so funny. Like, she really, again, just owns the comedy in a way that it didn't feel like Nick Jonas really did until A Miracle Would Happen. Which, what's Nick Jonas? What's the direction? We'll never know. All I know is what my eyes saw. If I Didn't Believe in You, he definitely played it. I say there's a whiny way to do it and an angry way to do it. Norbert Leo Butz is whiny. I think Adam Cantor's whiny as well. Jeremy Jordan's angry. He's over it. He's like, I schmule songed for you. I've been trying to make you believe in yourself and you just still don't, and I'm over it. They're a little bit more just like exasperated. And Nick Jonas kind of made me almost feel, I'll admit, almost bad for him. Just from the way of like, he just seemed so genuinely exasperated of like, he was really like, go to this party. Like, I just want you to support me. Like, was a lens of like, he was just genuinely like, why? It just felt like it had this lens of, he just wants her support. Like, he keeps giving his support and he just feels like due for it, which is a whole nother conversation, but I just never really got that lens. Again, Jeremy Jordan's is like pissed, so totally different situation. But also in the movie, again, objective reality, I think we are meant to believe that his Jamie has already cheated, whereas in the musical staging, that I don't think that has happened yet. Like, it doesn't seem to make sense that would have happened yet. This feels like it's probably his last straw. If I had to theorize, he probably cheats on her like that minute, like 2 seconds after that conversation. But yeah, he was pretty good in this. No complaints. He really shined in the second half way more than the first, I will say. Like, I'm not trying. This is so long, and if you're somehow still here, I way too much to say. Clearly, I have not edited myself down emotionally at all. Nick Jonas really shines in the second half. Yeah, he did well. He did well, and his characterization felt a little bit different, and that was really nice to like feel a little fresh. I can do better than that. I need a recording of that right now. I felt like this is why I came here. I would just see the show again. I would walk in the last 10 minutes of the show just to see that, okay? She's just amazing. Again, I want to point out, she took the range and, like, extended it. She's, like, belting to the gods. She's belting to the rafters. Glass is breaking. We're crying. We're in shock. We're in awe. Just to point out how incredible she did in this song. Again, the juxtaposition's kind of crazy. Nobody needs to know. Definitely wanted a little bit more from him vocally. This is, to me, basically, like, right, her I Can Do Better Than That is her finale, to me. It's her finale. I feel like they each get a finale, and then they get the finale together. Okay? She's blown me away. So I love this song, Nobody Needs to Know. I love that song. I will always accept cheating in a musical if it gets me a banger song. Okay? See my Waitress posters on the wall, if you need to know. See me crying at Bridges of Madison County, right? Like, if it gets you a banger song, you can do whatever you want. I love this song. I wanted a little more vocally. I felt like his acting was great. Again, I think really the second half shines for him, which again makes me question what was maybe directorially going on in the first half. But I also think that the slower songs ask a little less of him for, like, the big moments, which just maybe naturally match his voice a little bit more. So I think he sounded pretty good. My biggest complaint is that he is talking to a pillow. Like, he's talking, I'm not even talking like they put a fake person under a blanket, because you gotta remember, this has realistic sets. We are seeing some objective realities, and keep in mind, I said earlier, did you remember? There's a pianist. So, like, there are actual people. At no point, at any other moment, are they talking to a fake person. If they had rolled out a piano during Climbing Uphill, and Kathy, like, looked at nothing and said, this pianist, I would have been like, okay. When Nick Jonas yells at a blanket, I'd be like, oh, this is what we're doing. But they brought out a pianist. But Nick Jonas cheated with a blanket. Why would you not just turn the bed around? Turn the bed around. We only see the head frame. Okay. Why did I go with that high? Then we see Nick Jonas get up out of bed. We see him, like, sit up. We turn around. We do, hey kid, good morning. You look like an angel. I can't remember when we fell asleep. We should get up, kid. Kathy is waiting. I need to interject again and make this video longer. I forgot to mention as well that because we then see no one in the bed, it is not a surprise that it's not Kathy, right? Because if it was Kathy, we'd be seeing Kathy because she shows up in his life, in his timeline, right? They're in each other's timeline. So that also ruins this moment. Then we don't know that there's not a woman in the bed, and he well, he can't get up yet because then he says, look at us lying here. All right, he's still sitting up. I didn't choreograph this ahead of time, right? So then he eventually gets up. Now I'm thinking too hard about this. He gets up. And so we see the headboard. We never see that there's, like, not a woman there. Because eventually, like, a backdrop comes down anyway. So we, like, wouldn't see her get up. I don't know. There had to be a better option than, like, yell at a pillow. And then when we, like, grabs the blanket. Also, okay, this, if you know Nick Jonas, I'm begging you right here, right now, you need to tell him that his delivery of the take me inside you was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. I can't explain to you why, but I'm calling Olivia Benson to make a report. It was... I like to pretend it's a metaphor when it's probably not. That was nasty. I've been filming for so long, my tea is, like, not warm. Here we go. Why did he yell at a pillow? If they didn't have a pianist, I would have been primed. Doesn't matter. Goodbye until tomorrow. And I could never rescue you. Pretty good. Definitely, it felt like they blended better than what we had seen. It didn't feel like she was drowning him out in either song. Were they adjusting mics? Maybe. I think. She's amazing. Just saying. He was pretty good. Again, just very exasperated. I think he plays a good Jamie and a fairly sympathetic Jamie. Like, his characterization, like, I did not expect to go into this musical, to be completely honest, and say that his acting felt almost beyond his singing. Like, I felt like the point is, Jamie is supposed to be, they're both supposed to be, maybe not sympathetic, but, like, empathetic. You're supposed to be able to understand both of them. You're supposed to be able to, like, so for him to pull that off, I think that really shows that he was doing a good job. Let's talk a little bit more about the way that they came in and out of each other's lives. Like I said, it felt like the lighting that they used didn't even always make sense. They also, Kathy had different hair, so at no point does Jamie look different, ever. He's basically always wearing the same clothes as well, but Kathy has long hair in the end and short hair in the beginning. I don't know exactly when it becomes different, or if they have a middle hair. I'm not sure. But there were moments where she had the long hair and then, like, existed in his timeline because they were sharing the stage. Basically, like, they'd be sharing the stage and then she would, like, become a part of his timeline. And again, we're getting these objective realities, but then also she would, like, have her hair from the wrong timeline. Which is a stupid nitpicky thing, but I think it just shows, like, that it's a weird choice overall. Which they could just not have her have different hair. He looks the same the entire time. I think the objective reality took away from it more than not. There would then also be times, like, if I Didn't Believe in You, I think. Yes, he's talking to her, but she is in her, When Finally You Come Home to Me, in her, like, audition garb, because it's her timeline, but then she's standing there upset like he's yelling at her, but it's like, well, is she existing in his timeline, but she left, like, the audition number on herself? Or is she upset in her timeline? And if she is, it goes on for way too long. Like, if we were supposed to believe maybe she's getting, like, a negative audition feedback or something, and she's sad and then, like, walks away, I could be like, oh, okay, like, they're doing this on purpose, just, like, for audience. But, like, she stands there sad looking for, like, the entire song, and that didn't make any sense. And there are a lot of moments like that. And again, I don't like, the whole point is that we don't really know what happened. We're just getting these glimpses of parts of their lives that are important to them. We're supposed to learn kind of why they think the relationship didn't work. And so for these flashes of, like, them together, it also then makes the next 10 minutes less meaningful. And then the ending also, again, is less meaningful. Because to me, the ending of them, there's only 2 moments, basically, when they're on stage together. And there's glimpses. Again, there's dialogue here and there. We go in and out for a miracle would happen. But really the only times they interact are in the next 10 minutes. And then goodbye until tomorrow and I can never rescue you. And that is supposed to be very impactful because we're supposed to see, to me, find it devastating that they are singing together but completely apart, right? They're singing as a duet and they're together on stage and they're singing at each other but they're in their own worlds. To me, that's what that is. For us to have already seen that play out a handful of times, it just doesn't hit the same. So that was definitely disappointing. And so all to say, was Nick Jonas bad? No. Was Nick Jonas good? Yes. I mean, he was not great. He was not great. There were moments where he went somewhere with a note, and I didn't think he was going to go there, or he did a run, or he did something a little funky, and I was like, I'll admit. Luckily, it's dark. Nobody can see my face, okay? There were definitely times where I was like, I'm not enjoying myself. Like, don't get me wrong. And it was unfortunate that he was, fortunate that he was stronger in the second act, but unfortunate because it was not doing it for me for the first half of the show. He just seemed super stiff. In the next 10 minutes, the song where they're supposed to be in love and like vowing to each other or whatever, it's like he had never seen a woman before. He just literally was physically stiff, and it just didn't feel like they clicked. And so, like, Adrienne Warren can't do it all on her own. She definitely tried, but it just didn't feel like they had something between them. And so it was really hard to buy in to, oh, these people, like, there was a reason they were together. No. I don't know. No. So Nick Jonas, he was pretty good in some parts, but in other parts really not great. And so that varied performance up against someone who was just putting everything she had into every moment, it was just so obvious. And maybe if they had put him against someone who had a similar range to him, maybe, you know, like another pop person, maybe it wouldn't have been as noticeable. But this difference was insane. And it just did, like, if you're giving an okay performance, but your direct other half is giving out of this world, you're just gonna look bad. This is a show that has great Broadway names, theater names attached to it throughout the years. Give us more. As well, I pointed out a lot of things that have nothing to do with the actors. An understudy could go on, they could replace him, right? Which they're not. It's only running for 14 weeks. It won't save the show. The show has, I think, a problem of it's now on Broadway and they're trying to make it Broadway, but they're not trying to take away from the fact that it's an intimate show, and it just felt like they couldn't strike that balance. Really weird directorial choices were made. I never would have thought it was directed by a woman. I would have expected so much more emotional resonance and empathy thrown at us if it was a woman. I'm sorry. Like, because it's written by, like, this pompous man, like, learning to be a person through writing this, right? Being, like, and processing and being like, oh, I was kind of a shit. So I expected the woman's perspective to, like, really give a lot. And maybe in some ways it did. Like I said, I did feel the most empathy for Jamie that I've felt particularly. And I think that that's important, and I am not of the camp of, like, Jamie's the villain. Like, grow up. So, I don't know. At one point I'm gonna be like, there's so much they could have done with this, but also, like, it's ultimately just about, like, an average relationship. Like, it's not that deep. And it's an off-Broadway show. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if they had just done it like if they weren't trying to make it something it wasn't, and putting them together in these moments, this tagline, nothing hurts as good, it just felt like someone didn't get it. Someone didn't get it. Somebody was on a completely different page than everybody else who has ever, like, taken in the last 5 years. I don't know why. I walked out just honestly being surprised that Jason Robert Brown put his stamp on this. That's the honest truth. Because while Nick Jonas was good, again, I think in a lot of ways he didn't sell us on the emotional resonance of any of those songs. Especially the first half. And so it's really hard to like him when he's not charming you. Because he's not taking you on that journey in Chicks a Goddess and moving too fast. Like, his best moments were when he was, like, being a jerk. And a miracle would happen. Like, it shouldn't be that way. So, yeah. Adrienne Warren's amazing. I want her performance of I Can Do Better Than That immortalized somewhere in this world. Also, her Somewhere in Ohio was amazing. But yeah, I think that, yeah, at one point they could do more, and at another point it is ultimately a small show about a relationship a bajillion people have had. And there's something beautiful in that, but I think it does mean that, like, it's inherently limiting. Like, it's literally not that deep. People have crummy relationships all the time. So what could they have done? What more could they have done? I think overall they could have just honored the fact that this is a small, intimate Broadway show. I think they wanted to do too much and like have more time together and share the stage. And we need more Nick Jonas time. We need more Adrienne Moore time. These are who people are coming for. These are people paying these tickets. And it just took away. It didn't add. It just felt like everything they did took away and didn't add. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. I have been talking for so long. I feel sad for me for having to edit this because I know I'm going to have to move some stuff around. I feel sad for you because this is getting to be almost as long as the show. So, wow, it was like you were really there. Oh, all right. So those are my thoughts. I'm glad I went. I'm glad I had the experience. It was a good experience. I had good times. I can say I saw Nick Jonas. I am going to go watch Jonas on Disney Plus now because that show still hits. I swear. So I'm going to go do that. I don't think we're going to get a cast recording. I was there the Wednesday evening after it opened on a Sunday. There were empty seats. And I and many people around me rushed. So I am going to be looking at the grosses because I am nosy. And I don't know if this is going to do well. The reviews were not favorable. I'm going to read the reviews, I think, in full at one point. I just saw some snippets before I went, but I didn't want to get into it because I wanted to see it myself. I'd be as fresh as possible. This has been in discourse for months because they talked about it so early. Overall, there were definitely highlights, but it's not particularly something that I would want to be sitting through again. I will just go watch the movie because at least Jeremy Jordan's in it. And I'm simple like that. Again, I wanted to have a good time. I don't want to spend money and not have a good time. I'm pretty easy to please, I think. I can nitpick so hard, but I like to think I'm easy to please. And I honestly, leaving, I was like, kill me. Upon reflection, there were definitely positives. Again, I'm glad I went. It was a good experience, but this was just not it. And I feel like it will go into the ether and probably be talked about as the last 5 years. They tried to take it to Broadway and it kind of failed. So that is all to be seen. If you enjoyed the video, if you've seen it, I would love to hear your thoughts. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all of those things that help the channel. The TikTok ban was extended, but always on the horizon. So I would love it if you helped me build a community here. You can find me on TikTok at Theater Kates, same as my YouTube channel and yeah, I will be back again to talk more theater. So thank you so much for watching my review of the last 5 years, and I'll see you next time. Bye.